بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين الذي يملأ الأرض قسطا وعدلا كما ملأت ظلما وجورا ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Let us all together pray for the Imam of our time. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. For the health and the appearance of Imam Mahdi, let us sing a loud salawat. In the previous night, we talked about Haqqul Imam, the right of the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. We mentioned why the Imams alayhi wassalam have rights over us. One of them was Haqqul Ta'aleem, the fact that everything we have learned in Islam is through our beloved Imams. The other one was Haqqul Wujud, the right of existence. What does that mean? The very fact that we are existing and Allah created us is because of the blessings and the barakah of the Imams alayhi salam. And we talked about Haqqul Ibadah as well. The right of our worship, of our acts of worship being accepted by Allah. We mentioned last night, without the Imams alayhi salam, our actions, our prayers, fastings, hajj, du'as, tawbah, nothing would be accepted. If anything is accepted, it's through the blessings and the barakah of Imam al-Mahdi ajjallahu farajahu al-sharif. Let's have a last salawat. I want to continue, but there's still too much noise coming from the back side. I don't want to say it's from the ladies' side, but خانمای محترم اگر اجازه بدن سکوت رو رعایت بفرمایید ما ادامه بدیم. ممنون میشم. ببخشید. We mentioned that each one of these rights bring responsibility for us. We talked about the responsibility, the taklif of sacrificing everything we have for Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, like Lady Khadija. That was number one. Ba'abi and wa ummi. That we are willing to sacrifice everything we have for the cause of Ahlul Bayt. That's the first taklif, first responsibility. The next one that we talked about last night was the fact that it is our utmost important obligation to love them. We say that Islam is founded on the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. The one who does not love them does not have the foundation of Islam. It is our obligation to love them. It is the ajr of Rasala, the payments that we need to pay for the Rasala of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All the hard works and efforts the Prophet did to bring us Islam. And tonight, we are going to talk about another taklif, another important responsibility of us Shias in regard to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And that is taslim, submission. Submission is one of the most important responsibilities that we have in regard to them. We have to be submitted to them. To the fact that Imam al-Rida alayhi salam said, Shi'atuna, our Shi'as have three main characteristics. Al-Musallimuna la'amrina, Al-Akhiduna biqawlina, Al-Mukhalifuna la'ada'ina. Three important characteristics. Number one, the Shi'as, if you want to know tonight, am I Shia Sheikh or not? See if you are categorized under these categories or not. Number one, they are submitted to us Ahlul Bayt. Al-Musallimun, Taslim, submitted fully. Number two, Al-Akhiduna biqawlina, they take our word in regards to their aqidah. And number three, Al-Mukhalifuna la'ada'ina, they have animosity against our enemies. Taslim is such an important factor in Islam that Imam al-Rida alayhi salam says, Ibadah, worship, has 70 wajh, 70 directions, faces. 69 direction or wajh is rida wa taslim, satisfaction with the command of Allah and being submitted to it. Brothers and sisters, we've heard about taslim. Whenever they ask us, what's your religion? We say we are what? Muslim. Muslim is someone who is taslim, submitted. But what does submission even mean? In simple words, submission, I'm sure a lot of people do not view the word submission this way. But this is how submission is looked at from Islamic point of view. Submission simply means to accept and agree with the command of Allah, the Holy Prophet, and the Imams, regardless of understanding wisdom behind the command or not. Should I repeat? Taslim is accepting and agreeing to the command of Allah, Prophet, and the Imams, regardless of understanding the wisdom behind it or not. You see, if I understand the wisdom behind the good actions and the bad actions, and I do those actions, I cannot say, well, I did them because Allah told me so. No, I knew, even if Allah had not commanded me to do that action, even if Allah had not prohibited me from doing that action, I wouldn't do it. Let me give you a very disgusting example. Na'udhu billah, ajallakumullah. If there's madfu' of feces on the ground, na'udhu billah, and you say that, well, I'm not going to touch this, I'm not going to, na'udhu billah, put this in my mouth. Why? Because Allah told me. Well, you already know, even if Allah Ta'ala had not, prohibited putting that in your mouth, you wouldn't have done that anyways. You cannot say, well, you see how submissive I am, Shaykh, to Allah. Allah told me this is not just not to touch it and not to eat it. Well, you already knew the harm and damage that puts into your body. So what is submission? Submission is actually the time that you don't understand the wisdom behind the command of Allah Ta'ala. Parents, fathers, mothers who are raising your children here in this society, sometimes becomes very difficult for you. Your son or daughter comes home and asks you, Dad, why do we have to pray 2 rak'ah in the morning? Dad, why should we fast for 30 days in the month of Ramadan? Dad, why can't we eat pork? Dad, why can't we drink this? Why can't we? Why should we? A lot of questions. Why is Dhuhr prayer 4 rak'ah? Why is the Asr prayer 4 rak'ah? Why should we go to Hajj? Why this? Obviously, finding answers for these questions are not only difficult, impossible. How would I know why Allah made morning prayer 2 rak'ah? Did Allah mention in the Quran? No. Did Ahlul Bayt mention why 2 rak'ah in the morning? No. Do I have ilm al-ghaib? No. How would I know? And many other questions. There is only one correct answer to all these questions. Learn this answer And whenever you get such a question, be able to justify this answer and convince your children with this answer. Taslim is the ultimate answer we have. Taslim, brothers and sisters, is the most rational and intellectual concept in Islam. Why do we say so? Well, Sheikh, you say that Taslim is accepting God's command or Imam's command without questioning it, without understanding the wisdom. How is this rational? You see, before you come to this point of accepting, listen to this carefully, of accepting Allah's command, you need to have a rational and intellectual reasoning with you. What is that? Number one, through intellectual reasoning, aqli, reasoning, I believe that Allah exists, number one. I believe through intellectual reasoning, I believe that He is all-wise, all-knowing. There's nothing in this world that He doesn't know. Number two. Number three, I know that He is all-powerful. Since He is all-powerful, He doesn't need to oppress me. Because I might know something, but I want to oppress you for any reason. I know that, for example, this is poison, and you shouldn't drink it. But what do I say to you? Go ahead, drink it, because I want to kill you. Na'udhu billah. Allah is needless. Allah doesn't need to oppress anyone. So He is all-wise, all-knowing, all-powerful, and He loves you. Put this all together, what's the conclusion? If He commands me to do anything, it's in my own benefit. He is needless. He doesn't benefit from me, following His command. If He tells me something is prohibited and haram, He wouldn't be damaged if I do that action. If you do all the haram actions in the world, how much damage do you do to Allah? Nothing. Zero. Allah doesn't need anything. So if I put all these together, the only conclusion is this: I have to be submitted to Allah Ta'ala's command. If someone does not want to be submitted to His word and command, he is going against his aql and intellect. Because your aql and intellect tells you what? He has told you, He knows everything. The one who knows everything and knows your benefit told you. If you don't follow that, you're going against your aql. So the most intellectual concept in Islam is taslim. Since I believe in Allah, that He's always all-knowing, all-powerful. And He told me that أَتِيُوا اللَّهَ وَأَتِيُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنكُمْ. The word, the command of Imam is my command. So whatever Imam Mahdi tells you is my word, is my command. So the same way that you're submitted to him, he's submitted to your Imam. This is a very actually intellectual reasoning that goes beyond taslim. And this is the ultimate answer we have to all these questions that we mentioned. Your son asks you, why do we pray? Son, come here, let me tell you about taslim. We believe in a creator who is all-wise, all-knowing, all-powerful. He doesn't need to hurt us. This God, if He tells us something, right, He is definitely in our benefit. That's it. That's the answer you can give to every question about Islamic rulings and commands and obligations and prohibited acts. Quran mentions clearly, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Allah says, I have not given you ilm, I have given you only a small amount of ilm, very little knowledge. Taslim is to accept the fact that we human beings are limited. We are limited. And we don't know everything. And we trust the one who knows everything. That's the meaning of taslim. We trust the one, the Imam, who is Khalifatul Rahman, is the successor of Allah Ta'ala. Remember last night we talked about the importance of love. Loving Ahlul Bayt. We say this love is the foundation of Islam. Now this foundation of Islam, loving Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, where does it go? Into your heart, right? That's the place of loving. Now, the heart is the valve, is the container that your love goes into it. If I have a cup that is dirty, najis, and I pour pure water in it, the water becomes najis and dirty too, right? So first you have to purify your heart and then pour water, correct or no? That's why the hadith of Imam Baqar Najad says, Ya Aba Khalid, لا يحبنا عبد ويتولانا حتى يطهر الله قلبه. If you want to love us, Ahlul Bayt, you have to first, number one, step one, purify your soul, your heart. Well, how do I purify my heart? Imam says, وَلَا يُطَهِّرُ اللَّهُ قَلْبَ عَبْدٍ حَتَّى يُسَلِّمَ لَنَا وَيَكُونَ سِلْمًا لَنَا. And your heart is not purified unless you're submitted to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Do you see the process? First, submission, taslim. Then your heart is purified. Once your heart is purified, then you receive the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Let me get into the deep meaning of these words. This is a very important narration when it comes to understanding the basics, foundation of Islam. You see, when we talk about loving Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, if a person comes to us and says that, oh, Sheikh, I want to become Muslim, we don't tell them that, oh, you have to love Ahlul Bayt. That's the first step, no. The Christianity is the other way around. In Christianity, the first thing they tell you is what? Start loving Jesus. Once you love Jesus, then everything else will come to you. Islam is the other way around. No, love doesn't come first. Love is emotions. Emotions need logic. Emotion that is not based on logic and intellect goes away, easily goes away. If you're wondering, brothers and sisters, why a lot of Shias are turning away from their religion, this is why. Because they have the love without the base. The base is based on the intellect, and that is taslim. They are not submitted. If you're not submitted, you cannot really love Ahlul Bayt. This is a very important concept. So if someone wants to become Muslim, the first thing we tell them that, look, you got to become submitted to Allah and Ahlul Bayt. And this is the reason why you should be submitted to them. Once he is convinced that he needs to be taslim or submitted, then the next step is that now start loving Ahlul Bayt. That's the second step. So basically, in other words, you cannot even love Ahlul Bayt truly without being submitted to the words of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. Brothers and sisters, we are living in a very difficult time. The time of occultation, as described by Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, is a very dangerous time. A time that many people, many Shi'as leave their religion, become atheists, become murtad, mulhid, they start cursing the values that they once believed in. Unfortunately, we see this a lot nowadays. And Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam had warned us. It will be so difficult that a Shia, a believer, goes to sleep while being mu'min, wakes up as a kafir. And so many narrations about keeping faith in the narrations. In one narration, it says that keeping your faith at this time of occultation is even harder and more difficult than khartul qatad. What is khartul qatad? Qatad is a type of plant that has thorns. And khartul qatad is to take one hand, on one side of your hand, on one side of the plant, and with the other hand, try to take off the thorns on this plant. Obviously, if you do that, your hand will be torn apart. The narration says that keeping faith at this time is even harder than this, at the time of occultation. Now, what should we do then to make sure that we stay faithful? What can we do to make sure that our kids stay faithful? Imam said, فَيَطُولُ أَمَدُهَا. That's the time of occultation will be prolonged. حَتَّى يَرْجَعَ عَنْ هَذَا الْأَمْرِ أَكْثَرُ مَنْ يَقُولُ بِهِ. This is a very dangerous warning from the Imam. Imam said it would be prolonged to the point that most of those who believed in him will turn against him. Will turn against him. Brothers and sisters, those people who are now, unfortunately, on a different path, have been deviated, have very negative view about Islam, were once sitting in these type of majalis next to people like you. They've turned away. Why? Imam says the key in this time of occultation to stay faithful is only one. فَلَا يَثْبُتْ عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا مَنْ قَوِيَ يَقِينُهُ. The only ones who stay faithful at this time are those who have yaqeen. They're firm in their iman. وَصَحَّتْ مَعْرَفَتُهُ. Have correct and sound recognition of Ahlul Bayt. وَلَمْ يَجِدْ. This is the most important one. وَلَمْ يَجِدْ فِي نَفْسِهِ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْنَا وَسَلَّمَ لَنَا أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. And he does not find any dissent nor disagreement in his heart in regards to our commands. When we command him to do something, when we sees a hadith, for example, that tells him to do something, he does not find any disagreement in his heart. There are people who deny, well, obviously these people are not submitted. Imam says that that's not enough. No, your heart should be fully submitted. That you do not find any particles of disagreement in your heart. To that extent, that's how you can stay faithful at the time of occultation. Quran says, brothers and sisters, فَلَا. Is this something that we made up? No. It's based in Quran. The problem is that we don't read Quran. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah has sworn in Quran that I swear that they would not believe in you, Rasulullah. لا يؤمنون حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في أنفسهم حرجا مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. Until Quran says, Prophet, they would not believe in you unless that they do not find any disagreement or dissent in their heart when you give them a command. وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. And they are fully, submissively, they are fully, sincerely submitted to you. If they are not in that level, sorry, they are not mu'min. Am I mu'min or not? Test yourself. Read the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. If you read them and say, whatever Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam have said, I accept it, agree with it, don't question it, don't undermine it. Since I know it's a command of Allah, you are mu'min. But if you see the commands of Allah and you're like, really? Should I really believe in this? It's questionable for me. Oh, really? Now, you've reached a level of understanding and knowledge that you want to undermine the knowledge of Allah and the Imams. Great for you. Quran says that you cannot call yourself mu'min. In a very beautiful hadith, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, لَوْ أَنَّ قَوْمًا. Listen to this carefully. لَوْ أَنَّ قَوْمًا عَبَدُوا اللَّهَ وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ. If people worship Allah alone, do not ascribe any partner to Allah, any partner. وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةِ. So these are not mushrikeen. These are people who pray to Allah. They only believe in one God. They don't believe in any idol. وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةِ. They pray 5 times a day. وآتوا الزكاة, they paid their zakat, their khums, their fitriyah, everything. وحجوا البيت, they performed their hajj. وصاموا شهر رمضان, they fast the month of Ramadan. However, ثم قالوا لشيء صنعه الله أو صنعه رسول الله ألا صنع خلاف الذي صنع أو وجدوا في ذلك في قلوبهم لكانوا بذلك مشركين. As clear as that. If someone does all these things that we mentioned, however, when he hears about one command, some of the commands are easy to accept. Some are difficult. Might be difficult for you. For example, it might be difficult for a woman to understand, to accept and agree that inheritance is divided differently between men and women in Islam. But if you're mu'min, taslim, Imam said, if you do all these things, pray, fast, hajj, zakah, everything, but if one command comes to you and you question that, you are a mushrik. It's really scary for me. Ya Allah, I did everything I could, and you still call me mushrik? Why? You know why? For the same reason Allah called Iblis kafir. Let me ask you this. Why do you think Allah called Iblis kafir? Who is a kafir? Infidel. Who is an infidel? Well, Shaykh, kafir is someone who denies Allah. So you should have denied Allah. No, you're wrong. According to Quran, this is wrong. He believed, Iblis la'natullah alayh. He believed in Allah tabaraka ta'ala. He worshipped Allah tabaraka ta'ala for many years, to the point that the angels thought that he's one of them, while he was not. He was a jinn. This is how much he believes in Allah tabaraka ta'ala. Doesn't he believe in the prophets? Yes, he does. Because he said that Allah would deviate everyone except ibadik al-mukhlasin. So he knows about the ibadik al-mukhlasin, the sincere servants of Allah. Doesn't he believe in the day of judgment? Yes, he does. In Quran, he says that, Ya Allah, give me permission to deviate them until when? Yawm yub'athun, the day of resurrection. So he believes in Allah, prophets, day of judgment. He had worshipped Allah for many years too. But what does Allah say about him? وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لَآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Allah calls Iblis kafir in Quran. Allah, why do you call him kafir? Because he did not accept one command. One command. Brothers and sisters, these stories in Quran are not for the people in the past, are not about the people in the past. Oh, poor Iblis is a kafir. This should be a lesson for us. Allah is telling us these stories so we take lesson. That even Iblis, I called him kafir when he denied one command that I gave him. You think that you can stand against the commands of Allah and argue against the commands of Allah? Whatever it is. If it is in Quran, if it is found in the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, if you find any disagreement with it, the same ruling that went for, Iblis would be for us as well. You see, Ibrahim, brothers and sisters, the story of Ibrahim, what happened? How did Allah test him? You know the story that Allah said, to him, I commanded him that he should kill his own son. And he came to Ismail and said, قَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ. I saw in my dream, and this is a true dream, that I should sacrifice you. I should, cut your neck. Beautifully, Ismail does not undermine this command. He says that, سَسَجِدُنِي إِنشَاءَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الصَّابِرِينَ. Do whatever you're commanded to do. Ya Allah, this really doesn't make sense to me. I'm your prophet, right? You sent me. Ismail, who is better than Ismail in this world? You want me and Ismail, go to a place, take out the knife, cut his neck. What kind of command is this? On the way to Qatligah of killing Ismail, you know the story how many times Shaitan, Iblis came to him and said, come on, Ibrahim, why do you want to do this to yourself and your son? And Ibrahim threw stones at him. And Quran says that فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا, when I saw them in the level, state of full submission, that they do not find any will in themselves except the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As if they are mayyit bayna yaday al-qassam. When they put the dead body on the bed of washing him, the ghassal, the person who's performing the ghusl, when he turns the dead body around left and right, this dead body cannot argue with the ghassal that why did you turn me left or right? This is how I should feel in front of Allah Ta'ala. Ya Allah, whatever. Quran says, when I saw them at this level of submission, وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينَ, and Ibrahim had the face of Ismail down on the earth, then I told him that no. وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. I don't need to cut his leg. This is just the test of submission. And that's how you see that in the narrations it says that Ibrahim was first abd, then he became, but through the test of Allah, Nabi, then Rasool, then Khalil. The last level was his imamah. He reached the level of imamah, how? Through this last command of Allah, that go kill your son. A person came to, an Arab guy came to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to become Muslim. The Prophet said, well, great. I come here, pledge with me. Pledge with me that when you become Muslim, you kill your own father. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want to do that. He left. The next day he thought to himself, he came back again and said, well, I want to become Muslim. The Prophet said, well, fine, but this is the command. If you want to become Muslim, you got to kill your own father. He left. Third day he came, Prophet said the same thing. He said, well, if this is what it takes to become Muslim, then Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Prophet said that this wasn't my command. And I don't really want to, I don't want you to kill your father. But I want to see if you're really submitted, like Ibrahim. Are you submitted to that level or not? Obviously Allah does not want you to be harmed. In the story of Musa and the cow, you know the story, Surah Al-Baqarah, when one of the Bani Israel was killed. We mentioned the story once in one of the nights. When one of the Bani Israel was killed, Allah told them that you have to do what? Find a cow and kill the cow. And Allah ya'murakum an tadbahu baqarah. Find a cow, kill the cow, a very specific cow with specific color and everything. Cut the tail of the cow, hit the dead body with the tail of that cow. The dead body becomes alive, and he will tell you who had killed him. Am I making these stories? No. This is the Quran, first chapter, second chapter. Baqarah. God, can we take a pause for a moment? Why a cow? Why a specific cow, a yellow cow, for example? Why his tail? Until today, no one has answered for that. Allah wants to see, are you submitted? I don't understand the wisdom behind it. You're not supposed to. Do you understand that He's your Lord? That's good enough. Do you have intellectual reasoning that He's your Lord? That's good enough. That's all I need to know. That He's all-wise, all-knowing, all-powerful. Doesn't matter what the command is. Sahl ibn Hasan al-Khurasani came to Imam al-Salih alayhi salam. This is our last salawat for his name. Sahl ibn Hasan al-Khurasani came from Khurasan, near the Afghanistan area today, to Medina. He said, Ya Ibn Rasulullah. He said to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, you have thousands of warriors and fighters, Shias who are devoted to you, are willing to be sacrificed for your cause. Why don't you get up and rise and revolt against these oppressors? The same complaint that we always hear at the time of quotation, that Imam, look, you have millions of Shias, why don't you come back to us? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when Sa'd told him this, he was in his house, and there was a tannoor, a small oven in the ground oven. Back then, every house had a tannoor to bake bread. And it was, lit up. There was fire in it. Imam said, go sit in the fire, please. Go sit in the tannoor, please. Without saying why. Sa'd was obviously out of his mind. He said, Ya Imam, please forgive me. Sorry, I was out of my mind. I didn't know what I was talking about. Please forgive me. Don't kill me. Right? As he's begging Imam to forgive him, Harun al-Makki walks into the house. And Imam alayhi salam tells him, without again telling him why, as soon as he says salam, Imam says salam, Imam tells him, take off your shoes and go sit in the tannoor. He says, Sam'an wa ta'atu, Sayyidi Mawlana. Sayyidi wa Mawlana. Oh my master, whatever you say. Is this how we are? If Imam Mahdi alayhi salam comes back today and tells you, God forbid, he tells you, your house is from haram. Get out of your house. Your car, you bought it from haram. Put it aside. Your wife was your, ukht min al-rida'a, was your sister. You didn't know. It's haram for you, for example. You cannot be good with your wife anymore. Anything you belong to, you should, put that aside. Are we willing? Harun al-Makki said, fine. Went and sat in the tannoor, in the ground. Sa'd is looking at the Imam alayhi salam, thinking to himself that Harun is burning. And Imam turns to Sa'd and asks him, how's Khurasan? How are people doing there? How's life? How's business? Sa'd, he is not in a good situation. He's thinking to himself that I caused this person to die. Then Imam alayhi salam calls Harun. Harun, come out of the oven. Harun comes out of the oven, burning oven with fire. He's not burned with the miracle of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam asked Sa'd, you told me I have thousands of fighters and warriors. How many of them are like this Harun? How many? How many of them, if I tell them to sit in the tannoor, they will sit in the tannoor? He said, none. You have no supporter like Sa'd, like Harun. Imam said that until we have supporters like him, submitted to that level, we do not waste our time, in other words. We don't want to revolt against his oppressors and just leave us alone. A person came to Imam alayhi salam, one of the companions, Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur. He said, Imam, I am so submitted to you that if you bring me a pomegranate, cut it in half, tell me one half is haram, the other half is halal, I will take your word. Same pomegranate from the same tree. If my Imam tells me one half is haram, one half is halal, are we submitted to that level? Aban ibn Taghlib came from Kufa, from Iraq, to Medina. He asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam, if a man cuts one finger of a woman, in Islamic government, obviously we don't have an Islamic government, inshallah, in the presence of Imam Mahdi Ajjallah Farajah. If a man cuts one finger of a woman, what's the had? What's the punishment, Islamic punishment? Then Imam alayhi salam said that Ashr min al-ibr. He has to pay 10 camels. How about if he cuts 2 fingers of a woman? Imam said 20 camels. How about if he cuts 3 fingers? 30 camels. How about if he cuts 4 fingers? Imam said 20. Aban was, Imam, I'm telling you 3 fingers, you tell me how many? 30. I tell you 4, you tell me 20? It's not logical, it's not rational. When we were in Kufa, in Iraq, we used to hear this, and we used to say this is from Shaitan. Imam said, وَيْحَكِ يَا أَبَانْ أَخَذْتَنِي بِالْقِيَاسِ. You're making a comparison. There's no qiyas in Islam. This is the command of Allah Ta'ala that men and women, they are same when it comes to punishment in this regard until 1/3. After that, it becomes half. So 5 will be 25. Becomes half. This is the command of Allah. You don't understand why? You don't have to. We know some reasonings behind it. I don't want to get into the details of why this punishment is half. But even if you couldn't understand, this is the command of Allah Ta'ala that you have to agree with. The last thing I want to mention tonight, brothers and sisters. One of the most important things that we are tested at the time of occultation is the prolonging of the occultation of Muhammad Baqar Najad. The narrations tell us that at this time, many Shias, as was mentioned earlier, leave the religion. Why? Some of them leave the religion because they say that if an imam had existed, he would have appeared. Some would say that the reappearance, has been prolonged. I mean, imam hasn't come yet. And it should have happened much earlier than that. One of the things that Ahlul Bayt have emphasized a lot when it comes to occultation, ghaybat of Imam Mahdi Ajjal, is the concept of taslim. Occultation is the test of our Shias. What type of test? Test of their taslim. Allah wants to see, are they fully submitted or not? Just like the time of Prophet Musa. When Musa went to the mountain, how many days was supposed to be on the mountains? 30 days. Right? After that, وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا the ash. 10 days was added. In those 10 days, people became what? Cow worshippers. Calf started worshipping the calf. The prolonging of the occultation of Musa was the test of the people of Bani Israel. The same way, the prolonging of the occultation of Muhammad Mahdi is a test of the Shias. That's why we say in the dua, La uhibba, Ya Allah, make me taslim and submitted, حتى لا أحب تعجيل ما أخذت ولا تأخير ما عجلت. Ya Allah, make me submitted to the level that I do not want what you have preceded to be delayed, and what you have delayed to be preceded. Ya Allah, in other words, our obligation is to pray for the faraj. To say, Allahumma ajjal li waliyyika al-faraj. That's our obligation day and night. No matter what happens in this world. No matter, what is going on in this world with the wars and the afflictions that are happening. Worse comes to worse. Do not undermine the decree of Allah Ta'ala. He knows best when he needs to return his imam. This is the test of taslim. Do not lose hope. We have imam. We have a savior. Who cares about us? Allahumma inna nashku alayka thabta nabiyyina wa ghaybata waliyyina. Yes, Ya Allah, we don't argue with you. We don't undermine your decision and your decree that this occultation has to be prolonged. But the time has become very difficult on the Shias. Ya Allah, we ask you, And we beg you to give safety and security to all the Shias around the world, inshallah. Ta'ala, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma ajjal li waliyyika al-faraj. Allahumma ajjal li waliyyika al-faraj. Allahumma ajjal li waliyyika al-faraj. وجعلنا من خير أنصاره وأشياعه وأتباعه والمستشهدين بين يدي رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات. السلام عليكم يا هدية النبوة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين الشهيد بكربلاء. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الجواد. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الهادي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الله يا حجة الله في أرضه. سهل الله مخرجك وعجل الله فرجك بحق صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.